Hey there YouTube fans, AC Productions here, and today I'm going to be showing you on how to do hidden turn signals. Now, as you already guys know, that safety is really important to me, and I got a question in from a subscriber, and his name is Kit Wong, and he says, "Hey AC, I low-sided my R3 and the TST flush mount signals was broken. I want to replace the TST flush mounts with something much more brighter and visible to traffic. Something that would provide that tripod of light via the DRL functionality to oncoming traffic. What would you recommend?" Alrighty there, Kit Wong. So that's actually a good question. So what I'm going to be showing you in this video is going to be on how to install front and rear turn signals in a different location other than the typical locations where you would install or have these turn signals. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to actually install some front signals that are hidden in the headlight area, and then I'll also be showing you turn signals in the rear in a different location. Now, the turn signals I'm going to be using are not going to be, unfortunately, a DRL function. Now, if you guys are not sure what a DRL or don't know what a DRL stands for or what they are, DRL stands for daytime running lamps. Now, what Kit Wong is asking is something that has the DRL, so meaning that the bike is on, it's like a white color, and then when you put the turn signal, the white turns off and then the yellow turns on to let oncoming traffic that you're going to be making a lane change. So the LEDs that I'll be using for the front are just going to be a normal LED strip, but we'll have the yellow color to let oncoming traffic know that you're going to be making a lane change. Alright, so let's get started. Let me show you the tools that you're going to need to do this installation. Also, I wanted to let you guys know to stay to the end of the video, because at the end of the video I'll be showing you on how does turn signals work at night. Okay, now these are going to be the tools that you're going to need to do this installation. I know it looks like a lot, but really, if your LEDs come with enough cable, really the only things that you're going to need: paper towel, alcohol, a handle with a 4mm Allen key, and these posi taps. If you happen to have red and black posi tap, that's great, but if you don't, whichever colors you have is perfectly fine, because it'll be the most simplest way on actually connecting to the cables that we're going to be connecting to. But if your cables do not come long enough to reach where we need them to reach to, mainly the stock turn signals, then in that case you're going to need extra wire. It doesn't have to be red and white, it could be red and black. Also, we're going to need a blade, a ratchet with an extension and an 8mm socket, scissors, wire strippers, and if need be we may have to solder iron, rosin paste your solder. If you have heat shrink tubing, if you don't have heat shrink tubing, then you could go ahead and use electrical tape. Additionally, we're going to need a 5mm Allen key, a small flathead screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, and two 8-inch long zip ties. Alright, so let's go to the bike and let's get started. Okay, so right here in front of me we have 3 different types of LED strips. Now, the ones that we're going to be using for the front are going to be this one. These are side emitting LED strips. So let me turn these on so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Now, the ones in the front that we're going to be using is going to be a yellow color, and that's pretty much what you want to get. Alright, so here's a little bit more focus. Now, as you can see, they're side emitting. That means that the light shoots sideways, and that's what we're going to be using for the fronts. So as you can see, if I turn it this way, you can see that the light beam is actually hitting the camera. This is a very thin strip, and like I said before, I'll have all of the products in the description below on where to purchase the LED strip. Alright, so this is going to be the yellow ones. Now next we have 2 options for the rear turn signals. Now, I kind of wanted to show you these LED strips. Now these are the smaller LED strips, and now the size of these LEDs are going to be 3528. So I'm going to turn these on so you guys could see these ones, and this can be one option for you if you didn't want to go too bright for the turn signals. Unfortunately, the only color I have available right now are red, but if you want to use red, you could use red for the rear, or you could use yellow, up to you. And as you can see, it just kind of gives a glow. It's not extremely bright for these particular small LEDs. Now, me personally, I would go with the next option, which is going to be these LEDs. Now, these LEDs are, the size of it is 50/50, and these are a lot bigger compared to these little small ones. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this one and then show you this one. Here is the 50/50 LEDs, and as you can see, they're a lot brighter, and in person they're definitely a lot brighter. It's just the camera doesn't really capture it. For me personally, I would probably use these instead of the other smaller ones, but again, it's up to you on how the level of brightness you would like for your turn signals for the rear. So for me, I would go with the lot brighter ones, because you definitely want to let the drivers behind you know that you're going to be making a lane change. And then here's a side-by-side comparison so you guys could see on the differences of size. Okay, the location of where we're going to be putting these very small LED strips is going to be alongside on the front. Pretty much there is a small gap right here between the fairing and the headlight that we could actually attach the front LED. Now, if I were to kind of shove them in there, kind of see, we're going to be using or so, but I could pretty much put it in there right now. But we're actually gonna remove the front fairing to actually attach this strip. Now, as you can see, from this point to this point is where we're gonna be attaching the LEDs. And once we get it in there, you're not gonna even see the white part. It's gonna be hidden inside. All right, so now to remove the front fairing, what we're gonna need to do is gonna have to remove both sides of our mirrors. So with the little screwdriver, we're gonna go ahead and pop these little caps off. So these caps right over here, there's one over here on the front on both sides, and then there is one over here on the back. So go ahead and pop those two little caps off on the mirrors on both sides. Then once you do that, behind the mirror is going to be a 5mm Allen key screw. Gonna go ahead and remove both of those on the side. So like this one here, that one there, same thing on the other side of the mirror, here and there. So go ahead and do all that. Okay, after you get done removing the mirrors on both sides, next gonna have to go ahead and remove these screws holding your windscreen. So one here, here, and over there. Okay, after you get done removing all the screws up front, next we're going to have to go ahead and on both sides we have to remove this panel here. So to remove the panel here, you got to remove the screw here, screw over here on both sides, and then on the inside, now if we look on the inside, you're going to see a plastic Phillips screw here, and then another one right over here. And then also, besides those screws, you're going to have to remove, you could probably get away with just removing the screw here, because behind here, there is a little plastic Phillips screw to get this panel completely undone. So it'll be on both sides. Okay, after you get those two panels out, remove the screw right here. So there's one on this side and same thing on the other side. So go ahead and remove those two screws, and then we'll be able to finally remove our front fairing. All right, now that we got all the screws off, I'm going to go ahead and pop out the fairing, pop it out here from the front to get it out on both sides like this, and then just push it forward. It should come out fairly easy, but if you have any issues, just try to be careful on popping it out where all the tabs are at. There. All right, so there you go. So there we go. That's how we remove it. As you can see, there's all the tabs underneath it. All right, so let me show you what to do next. Okay, now that we got our front fairing off, now you're gonna see that there is no surface really to stick the LEDs. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be lifting up the front headlight cover to actually wedge the LED inside over here. From this point all the way, I would say up to right over here. Make sure that your LEDs you could actually cut, and they actually have cut marks. Now let's see if I can show you on this one. Right over here there is a cut mark letting you know that you're able to cut it right there. So it goes in increments of 3 LEDs. So 1, 2, 3, and then you got able to cut again. So just make sure you check with your LED strip on what you have, and go from there. All right, so we're gonna grab our LED strip, and then we're just gonna measure 8 inches. So I grabbed it right here, measure 8 inches, and then go ahead and cut your LED strip. Make sure that you're able to cut at the 8-inch mark. If you don't have a cut mark at the 8-inch mark, then you may want to go either a few inches in, and that'll probably put you at maybe 6 inches. It just depends on your LED strip, on your increments of where you could actually cut. Okay, now that we already cut our strips at 8 inches, I already cut this one at 8 inches, and then I cut this one over here to be 8 inches as well. Okay, so now right before we install the LED in, I just wanted to point out to you guys, in order to move the plastic a little bit more easier, we would have to remove this screw. So it's only pretty much a screw over here. So once you remove the screw, it'll give you a little bit more leeway on moving this plastic so we could actually install the LED strip. All right, so now that we're over here at the front, as you can see, I've already done this side just to cut on time on actually doing it and to see if I encounter any other issues upon installing it. That's why I had mentioned about the screw. All right, so now to get on this side, so what we're gonna do next is gonna go ahead and remove the backing of the tape. Let's go ahead and peel it off. So next we're gonna do is we're gonna pull on the plastic. We're gonna pull it up so you could actually wedge the LED inside. So go ahead and pull it up as much as you can, and then just push the LED inside. Like I said, this part can get a little tricky, but as soon as you get that first initial part inside for the LED, the rest of it should be fairly simple. Okay, so now that we already got the LED strip inside, at this point, once you get to this area over here, so once you get to this point over here where your wires are at, you want to go ahead and lift it up, and then grab your end of your cable, and then feed it through this part over here. So just go ahead and feed it through this area. It'll be a lot easier. Just pull on the plastic a little bit, and then pull it out from this side. There you go. Now you guys can see what I'm talking about. So go ahead and just pull it in. Just lift up the plastic a little bit. And make sure by the time you get to the end part that you're careful on not pulling in the whole entire LED strip inside. Alright, so guys, I had to get the camera off of the tripod. That'll be the only way to actually show you what I'm looking for. Alright, so if you notice right down there, there is our side turn signal. Now, as you notice, I do have the TST Industries turn signals. Now we're going to be looking for the wires. Now we're not going to be tapping into the TST Industry wires just because there is so many. What we want to do is we want to go back to the factory wiring. So if you were to trace your TST Industry wires, so if I go in there and grab them, so go in there and grab it. All right, so here's the wire harness for the TST Industries Halo turn signals, and you want to just pretty much trace it back to where you had first installed them. So go ahead, grab the wire, and then look for the point of where you installed it to the factory wire harness. Now if you look right over here, let's see, there is the factory wire harness right here. You can pull it. So here is the factory wire harness where it connects to, and this is pretty much where you want to tap into for our LED strips. Alright guys, so this is the best I could do on actually showing you. So as you can see, here is our factory wire harness for our turn signals. Going over here, it connects to the aftermarket wire harness for the TST lights. So here's the aftermarket wire harness that goes here, down there, and into the turn signal lights. You're going to notice a black wire, that's ground. Then you're going to see a green wire, and then a blue with a red stripe wire. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to tap with our posi tap, and we're going to go into, and we're going to put one here on the black wire. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so our posi tap. Here's our posi tap. We want to go ahead and unscrew the gray part of the posi tap. Now you're going to notice that as I'm unscrewing it, there's going to be a point and a slit. I'll do with one hand here. Alright, so here is the part. So as you see, there's a slit onto that plastic part. On the other one, there's a point. Now the part with the slit, we're going to actually put the cable in. So let me put it on there, and then I'll show you how it looks like. Alright, so this is pretty much how it looks like. We already got that piece on there with the cable right in that slit. Next we're going to do is we're going to grab the rest of the posi tap, which is right here with the point, and I'll go ahead and put that on there, and then screw it all the way until you can't screw it any further. So that's how the posi tap works. So next we're going to go ahead, grab our second posi tap. So we're going to grab our second posi tap, which is right here, same thing. Go ahead and unscrew the gray part, and then we're going to attach it to the green wire right there. So let's go ahead and attach it to the green wire. All right, now that we got our two posi taps on there, next we're going to do is we're going to unscrew the top ends of the posi taps. All right, so now that I got both of them unscrewed, now we're going to go ahead and on one of the screw tops, okay, we're going to go ahead and grab the end that we just took off. I'm going to start off with the negative, so you want to grab the negative on your cable. For me, it's going to be the white. On yours, it could be black. So when you put it on there, make sure that you put this part in first. Go ahead and slide that in. All right, so now that we got it in like this, now we're going to go ahead and put this to our negative posi tap. Now you go ahead and do the same. All right, so that's pretty much how it looks like once you already screw on the posi tap. All right, so the next one is going to do the exact same thing. Grab your cap, put it onto the red one, and then screw it onto your posi tap for the positive. So the red cable is going to be with the posi tap of the green. Okay, once you get your two posi taps connected, now what we're going to do is going to actually put our wires together and then just put a zip tie over it. That'll keep the wires nice and neat. Okay, now that we have our zip tie on there and we put it all nice and neat, now let's go ahead and we're going to put our bike on accessory and then put the right turn signal. So as you can see, right turn signal is on over here. Now let's see how it looks like on the bike. Oh, that's looking real good. Now you're going to be able to be seen every time you do a turn. Alright, so now that we know that the right turn signal is working perfectly fine, I'm going to go turn it off, and let's go to the left side. Okay, so the installation of how we did the left side of the LED strip is going to be the exact same thing for the other side. I've already done it, but I just kind of want to let you guys know that it's going to be the exact same procedure. So now that we already got this part already in, and coming same thing like we did with the other side is going to be, you know, looking for your turn signal wires, tracing it, and finding where the stock connector is. Now, as you can see, my stock connector is right here. Now on this side, we're still going to have the black, we're still going to have the blue with the red stripe. Turn signal wire on this side is going to be brown. So just like we did with the other side, let's go ahead and put our posi taps in. We're going to utilize the black for negative and the brown for the turn signal. So I'm going to go ahead and put my posi taps in, and then we'll take it from there. I already got my two posi taps in. I got this one for the negative, brown, and then this other one is connected to the brown wire. So black and brown for this side of the application, which is the left side of the bike. Next, we're going to grab our wires from our LED, which is right here, and then you want to do the same thing like we did with the other side. You're going to do it on this side. So go ahead, connect your blue wire, remove the cap from both of the posi taps. Now on the one, put the cap on negative, then go ahead and screw that in, and then put the cap on the positive, and go ahead and screw the positive to the brown wire. All right, now that we got everything connected like so, and just like the other side, go ahead and put a little zip tie to secure all the wires. All right, so now we're going to put the bike in accessory mode and then test out the left side. Go ahead and put our left side turn signal, and let's go to the front of the bike and see how it looks like. Oh, it looks just as good as the other side. All right, so now I'm going to put my four ways and we'll see how they both look. Now, if you saw my video on how to do 4 ways, I'll have a little link on the top of this video so you guys can see to check it out. Now here is the 2 ways right here, or the 4 ways. As soon as we put the lights in the back, that's looking really good. Now you're going to be definitely seen every time you make your turn. Alrighty guys, now that we know that this part works, let's go ahead and install everything back. And also don't forget to put the little screw that we had removed earlier. Don't forget to put those back in. And go ahead and put the front fairing on. Alright, so now that we got our front fairing on, next we're going to do is we're going to install our mirrors on this side and on that side. Once you install the mirrors back on, don't forget to put the little cap that goes over the screw. And then after the mirrors, we're going to go ahead and put our windscreen bolts on. So one on each side, here, and then on top over here and over there. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that all in one shot, and then I'll show you actually what to do after that. Okay, now that we got our mirrors and everything already screwed in on that side, now let's go to our final step, which is going to be installing the panels that go on either side. So now let's go ahead and do that. Go ahead and put your panels in on this side and on the other side. So go ahead and do that for both sides. Alright, so now we're going to install the LEDs in the rear. We'll be installing them on the rear part of the bracket for the foot pegs, the rear foot pegs. So we're going to install a strip over here and a strip over here. That's where we're going to be putting our LED strips for this particular installation. Alright, so now before we get to putting the LED strips there, what we need to do is get access so we could run our wires. So we're going to go ahead, remove your passenger side seat, and then you want to go ahead and remove your driver's seat. Okay, so now that we already got that top part uncovered, next we're going to do is we're going to want to clean the surface where we're going to be putting the LED. Now for this video, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be installing them over here like I said. So I'm going to go ahead and clean only this part of the surface with your alcohol, which is right here. So an alcohol on a piece of paper. Go ahead and wipe down the surface over here on this side and on this side over here. Feed it through here, poke it through up there, and then from over here you could see the cable poking through right about there. Alright, so let's try. There you go. Alright, so there's the cable. So now that we got the cable, let's go ahead and pull it through. Now you don't want to pull it all the way. As you can see, you want to make sure that you have enough for the LED to rest on. Because if you pull it in all the way, you're going to miscalculate on the amount of wire you're going to need, if need be, to extend or not. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold it there, and then with my other hand, pull on it a little bit, but not too much, because we do need to secure this cable here, and we'll probably put a zip tie to secure the cable once we have everything said and done. And as of right now, I think it will be enough, because the cabling that we need to get to is right over here. I know it's kind of dark right now, but once we get the light to it and I start installing it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I think right about there, I think this will be enough to actually get to this location. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove the double-sided sticky tape that it has, which on this particular one is very extremely thin, therefore hence the low profileness of this LED strip. Alright, so go ahead and got this out, and go ahead and just peel the whole thing out. Make sure that you don't touch this sticky part. Alright, so pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and have this edge all the way to the top right over here, and then go ahead and stick it down. I'm going to probably have it lined up to the edge of this side. Now let's go ahead and get our wire strippers and strip a little bit of the wires, and then let's get our posi taps and let's go ahead and install this over here. Okay, now that we're over by the tail section of the top part of the tail section of the bike, now what we're going to do right now is locate where the cables come out from the tail light. Now if you look over here, now this is where my cables come out. So pretty much here's the tail on this side, and this is the abundance of cables that come out from the tail end. Now over here obviously is a tight area, so we're not going to get to that. We're actually going to trace where the cables are going to come out to an area where it's a little bit more open, where we can actually tap into those cables. So if I follow it through here, go through here, and it ends up being right around over here. So I think this is just a little bit more open of an area to actually tap into the cables. Now you're gonna notice that we're gonna have to actually probably splice a little bit into it. Grab your hobby knife and be careful on splicing the outer coating of the cable. I've already done that because if you saw my video on how to install a GPS tracker, I had to get over here to tap into one of the cables, so I already had spliced this area. But for you, if you've never done that video, this part's gonna be with a sleeve. So go ahead and cut that sleeve, and we're going to notice inside is going to be a yellow cable, black, blue, and right over here is going to be a green and brown. Now don't worry about the blue and the yellow, those are the tail light wires. What we're going to concentrate on is going to be the black for negative, that's a ground, and then we have our turn signal wires, which is the green and the brown right over here. Okay, so right now we're going to go ahead and grab our posi tap, and actually I forgot to show you guys, but pretty much what I did with the posi taps, like I said, I don't have a black and a red. I just grabbed some electrical tape and wrapped one of them, so I know that's going to be my negative, and then obviously the red is positive. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and grab one of our posi taps. I'll grab the negative for now, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab the gray end, and the reason for the gray end is because this is the part that's actually going to connect to the wire. So you can see there's a point over here, and here's a slit on the little cap here. We're going to go grab our negative cable. So let's grab our negative cable, which is right over here, and apparently obviously we're going to be putting two of them onto the negative cable. Alright, so as you can see, I already got it on there. Now if you want, you go ahead and grab your other posi tap, because we're going to have two of them on there, and slide that one in as well. But now that we got this one in, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just grab the other posi tap, unscrew the gray one, and slide that also onto the negative cable. So it should look like this. Now there's two of them on there. Go ahead and grab the one that I had marked with little negative tape on there, and screw it in. So there's one. Now go ahead and grab the other one and put it on there as well. Okay, so same like we did with that one, go ahead and screw this one in as well. So now that they're both on there securely, okay, so now next we're going to do is we're going to grab our one cable that we have over here from this side. Okay, so now we're going to grab our cable from the LEDs. Going to go ahead and put it underneath, poke it through the side here actually. So now we need to go ahead and actually strip some of this cabling so we could actually plug the negative into the negative posi tap. And you don't have to strip that much, just enough to get it onto the posi tap. Alright, now that we got the ends twisted. Alright, so now let's go ahead and connect the black cable or the black wire to the posi tap. So on the posi tap, now go ahead and unscrew the red part. Alright, now that you unscrew the red part, grab the cable or the little end cap. You're going to see it's pretty much a see-through. Put it over the black wire like so, slide it over, and then go ahead and insert this into the posi tap and screw the little cap back on. Alright, so now that the cable is in there securely, now I'm going to go ahead, grab this side, where's the positive. Now we're going to go ahead and actually grab the posi taps, and we're going to tap one posi tap into the green wire and the other posi tap onto the brown wire. Alright, so now that we got the posi taps onto one of each, now the left turn signal wire is going to be the brown. Alright, so let's go ahead and unscrew the red part of the brown cable, because that is our left turn signal. If we're on the bike, get the little cap, slide it over the wire, and then put the cable inside the posi tap and screw the cap into the posi tap. Alright, now that it's nice and tight, now let's go ahead and test it out to make sure that everything's working good. Now that we have everything already set, now will be a good time to actually get your zip tie. So go ahead and just zip it through, that way it'll hold the cable in place. Alright, so let's put this through. Let's see. Actually, maybe we'll put it this way. This makes it a little bit more neater. Alright, so this way it'll help secure the cable so it doesn't, you know, come undone or whatnot. Alright, so see from that side, and then if you go on this side, this is pretty much where I wrapped it. So right there, through here, and then just get the little square part in here. That way it looks a lot more neater on this side. Alright, so now that I did this side, just go ahead and cut the little excess off, and then do the same thing with the other side. So there is our strip that we just installed right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn on the bike on accessory mode and put the left turn signal on. Alright, there is our left turn signal. And there's Dixie right there. So as you can see, with the 50/50, as you can see, that's extremely bright. Now that's definitely going to capture the attention of drivers that are behind you to let them know that you're going to signal and make a left turn. Alright, so now that we got one down, let's go ahead and do the same thing to the other side, which is going to be the right side. Alright, so now the process for the right side is going to be the exact same thing that we did on the left side. We're just going to go ahead and, you know, put our LED on there, feed it through the bottom of the tube, get to the top, make sure that it has enough cable to reach those, the negative and the green cable this time. As long as you have enough cable to reach there, it's the exact same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll test out the light. Alright, now that I got the wire all routed and it's coming out through here, I had tried to tuck it in as much wires as I can. Now here's our positive and negative cable. Now that we got the little cap out, go ahead, let's grab our negative cable, grab the cap, slide it over the negative cable, and then go ahead and thread the cap back in and tighten it all the way until it doesn't go any further. Now let's grab the positive and let's get to our green cable. So again, just go ahead, remove the red cap, slide it over the red cable, and then go ahead and put the red cable, green cable with the posi tap on it. Okay, now that we got the right side all connected and everything, now let's go ahead head to the bike. Gonna turn it on to accessory. I'm gonna put the turn signal. I'm gonna start off with the left, then the right, and then we're gonna put the hazards. All right, so let's get to the bike and check it out. Alright, so everything's working as it's supposed to. Alright, so now next thing we need to do is go ahead and we're going to put our driver's seat back on, our cover that goes here, and our passenger seat back on. Alright guys, so that pretty much concludes on how to install the hidden turn signals. Like I said, I wanted to do a video of where to install signals that you normally wouldn't install in. So being on the rear and in the front in those areas, I think is a good alternative. Make sure for you guys to stay tuned after my closing and check out the small video I put together to showcase the signals. Alright guys, well hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button. If you guys disliked the video, hit the dislike button. But please, I would appreciate if you guys would let me know in the comments below of what you dislike about the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you know of anyone else that's looking to do something similar, please share my video and hopefully it becomes helpful for them as well. If you guys haven't yet subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell. That way you guys are up to date with my latest uploads. And thank you for watching.